Welcome back. You're watching India Today and we've been getting you details of the cabinet expansion in Punjab. Few minutes from now, you're going to also see an all-important cabinet expansion in Uttar Pradesh. And the reason it's so important is because this is happening with just months to go for the assembly elections. UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath will be announcing cabinet expansion shortly. And in a mammoth bid to essentially include various caste groups and ensure a balancing act with allies, at least 7 to 8 ministers could be inducted in this cabinet Rejig. And here are the names that are currently doing the rounds. You've got Brahmin face, Jitin Prasada, backward caste faces like Sangeeta Bind, Chhatrapal Singh, Paltu Ram, Dinesh Khatik and also Krishna Paswan. They could take oath as ministers in Yogi Adityanath's cabinet. This expansion will focus on unrepresented communities, on caste groups and also recent allies. The BJP has recently only struck an alliance with the Nishad party apart from Apna Dal. Earlier, the Yogi government has 53 ministers, including 23 cabinet ministers, 9 ministers of state, that's independent charge, and 21 ministers of state at present. All discussions on the subject have reportedly been held with Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath and other senior UP leaders, including State BJP Chief Swatantrata Dev and General Secretary Sunil Bansal. Governor Anandiben Patel, meanwhile, has rushed to Lucknow to swear in all the new ministers. And in a big farmers' outreach, months before the crucial UP polls, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath today announced that the minimum support price of sugarcane will increase from 325 rupees per quintal to 350 rupees per quintal. Since taking over as the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh back in 2017, this is the first time that the UP Chief Minister has increased the MSP on sugarcane.
सरकार ने तय किया है गन्ना किसानों के गन्ना मूल्य का हम अब गन्ना मूल्य में वृद्धि करने की निर्णय की ओर हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। सरकार ने तय किया है कि भाइयों बहनों, राज्य में अब तक जिस गन्ने का 325 प्रति कुंटल दाम मिलता था, उस गन्ने का हम 350 रुपए गन्ना किसानों को भुगतान करेंगे।
Let's take this across to Abhishek Mishra, who's joining us live from Lucknow. Abhishek, who are the names, the probables who will be a part of the cabinet in this current expansion?
Well, absolutely, Akshita. The list is almost final. There is no turning back now. And 7 names which has emerged as the prominent contenders, or would rather say who are just about to take the oath here at the Governor House. Jitin Prasada, very well known, represents Shahjahanpur, a Brahmin face for the BJP. He's there. Sangeeta Bind, she comes from Ghazipur Sadar seat, is a Malla OBC MLA. She is going to take the oath. Dharamveer Prajapati comes from Agra. He belongs to Kumar caste and is another OBC face. Paltu Ram from Balrampur, again an SC face, Dalit face. Chhatrapal Singh comes from Bareilly, second time MLA, going to take the oath from OBC. Dinesh Khatik comes from Meerut. That is the Western UP, again a very prominent region whose representation is very much required for the BJP, is a Dalit face. And at the same time, Sanjay Gaur comes from Sohanbhadra, who is also an SC MLA, is also in the name. So certainly with all those 7 names, we can certainly see how the BJP has balanced the caste arithmetic. It was very important for the BJP to give that strong message just before the elections, how they're inducting, these segment of societies. 3 OBCs, 3 SCs and 1 Brahmin. This is what the picture looks like. And at sharp 6, the oath-taking ceremony will begin here at the Governor House. Yes. Okay.
Let me discuss that equation that you just put out for us, Abhishek, with Rahul Srivastava, our National Affairs Editor, who's joining us on this broadcast. Rahul, good evening. You know, there's been for quite some time now speculation that this was in the offing, that there would be a cabinet expansion with months to go for the elections. With it finally happening today, what do you think is the #1 criteria for the BJP to keep in mind to accommodate in this cabinet? Apologies. We'll reconnect with Rahul in just a bit. He'll be joining us with his take on all that's happening in Uttar Pradesh. This particular cabinet expansion is very, very crucial for the BJP, and they know that. Abhishek, I also want to focus on the other aspect, on the allies, and the fact that, the BJP is going to ensure that they also feel that, they've got their fair share of power, that they've been fairly accommodated in the cabinet. How is that equation going to change with this expansion?
Well, as far as allies are concerned, we have seen that, just 2 days back, BJP made the formal announcement of, the official alliance with the Nishad party. Sanjay Nishad, the president of the party, and as far as the news is concerned, his name has been sent for the MLC. He's not going to be the part of the Yogi cabinet today. And at the same time, 3 other names which have been given includes Chaudhary Viren Singh Gujjar. He comes from Shamli, Gopal Anjan Bhurji, Muradabad, and Jitin Prasada, of course, who is going to take the oath just in a while. These are the names, but as far as allies is concerned, BJP has tried to accommodate them, but it will all depend now with the strategy for the 2022. Dharamveer Prajapati, who was there just 2 days back, made a formal announcement, and he said that we will be looking at, giving a significant amount of seats, but how they are going to accommodate them, that is not clear. BJP certainly is going to have an upper hand over the allies, and as far as seats are concerned, we don't see much of the seats going to the Nishad party or also to the Apna Dal, who is already in the partnership with the BJP, and Anupriya Patel is already a minister in the Modi cabinet in the centre.
Right.
But this cabinet expansion, where we are looking right now, is more about giving the equation and participation to the own MLAs, because there has been a lot of complaints over the fact that they need more of the representation, and this cabinet expansion is basically towards giving the voices to all these MLAs, and at the same time balancing the act. OBCs and SCs are the main focus. 6 of the newly inducted minister, and with that list 60 is going to be the number. Right now 23 cabinet ministers are there, 21 states and 9 independent, and with these 7 new faces, 60 will be the number in UP in the new Yogi cabinet. Yes.
All right. Rahul Srivastava is with us now, National Affairs Editor. Rahul, good evening. The question that I was putting forth to you earlier is, what, in your opinion, would be the criteria that the BJP will keep in mind with this cabinet expansion? They know how crucial it is, because it's just months to go for the elections, and it's all about getting the balance right, getting the caste equation right.
Akshita, there is only one criteria, that is to win the election. For winning an election, the BJP has to do a lot of what is called a bucket list as far as the state is concerned. Now, in that, a few months back, if you recall, there were several question marks over Yogi Adityanath as Chief Minister managing to disturb over the last 4 years several caste equations, or the rainbow coalition of castes that the BJP had managed to create, which benefited in 2017 especially, and then in 2019. And that was a combination of OBCs, non-Jatav Dalits, that is among the SCs, and lot of MBCs. And the BJP definitely needed a course correction, because the issue that upper caste Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath was not paying attention to the caste which had loyally voted for the BJP, and that is why this is yet another attempt. I will say this is just yet another step, because if we see the Council of Ministers which was sworn in Delhi in the first week of July by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, after that the very clear signal came that 27 members of the council are now OBCs. That was a signal. Then it came to the reservation quota issue. The government created a law in Parliament to overturn what the Supreme Court had said in terms of the inclusion by the state list. That was yet another step. Inclusion of Jitin Prasada, bringing now several members from the SC, ST and the OBC category is yet another step. Now, one minor element, for example, I would like to point out that if the name of there are names of Sangeeta Bind, for example, who is from Ghazipur. She is an SC, OBC. Then Mr. Chhatrapal Gangwar, for example, from the Bahedi constituency, he's been an MLA, has been part of the RSS as far as his younger days are concerned. Now, Mr. Santosh Gangwar from this very region, the Bareilly Andhra region, was removed from the Council of Ministers in the last exercise. A Kurmi leader from the region needed to be propped up. So the BJP is bringing in Mr. Chhatrapal Gangwar. Interestingly, somebody like, say, Mr. Dharamveer Prajapati, a very old RSS hand from the Agra, he's an MLC, he's going to be brought in. Again, he has been an RSS Swayasevak at one time. So one can see that background of RSS, correcting the caste equation, people from the cadre being picked up, and remember, very importantly, nobody from the existing Council of Ministers being dropped is yet another signal that the BJP does not want to create any upsets like in Gujarat, where it changed the entire Council of Ministers when a new Chief Minister was brought in.
Rahul, Abhishek also made this point about how this cabinet expansion is an effort not just, to set caste equations, right? Not just to reach out to allies, but also to ensure that some of the leaders within the BJP who've been speaking out saying that, there's not been adequate representation from within the party, from their region, etc. This is to fix those issues as well. Would you agree?
Yes, definitely. See, for example, what is interesting is that there are 2 seats belonging to the ST category reserved for them in Uttar Pradesh. It's not a very strong tribal dominated state. Now these 2 seats were Obra and Dudhi in the Sonabhadra region. That's the southernmost tip of just beyond Allahabad, where there are tribals from that area. Now the Gaurs have dominated that area. Their population is supposed to be dominated. It's a very strong vote in Sonabhadra, Mirzapur and Chandoli regions of Uttar Pradesh. Now, in that area, Mr. Sanjay Gaur, who had defeated one of the most dominant Gaur leaders, Vijaypal Singh Gaur, his son was defeated by Mr. Sanjay Gaur in the last elections. And that is why the BJP is providing representation to Sanjay Gaur, because the BJP has realized in those 2 seats, it needs to continue maintaining what its hold in that region is concerned. The second seat from Dudhi had gone to the Apna Dal, who is an ally of the BJP, so the BJP is not worried about it. Now Sanjay Gaur also has another plus to him, is that his wife Leela Devi is a block pramukh in the panchayat level, as far as the region is concerned, in the Chopan region. So he has a strong presence, has been an MLA, so he's been upgraded so that the tribals get a minister as far as the council is concerned.
Right, Rahul, just stay with us. Information also coming in, the inside track really on this very, very important cabinet expansion in Uttar Pradesh. We understand that 1 cabinet minister and 6 ministers of state will be taking oath in minutes from now. So who's the 1 cabinet minister? It's Jitin Prasada. He'll be taking oath as a cabinet minister. Besides that, you've got several other names. So let me just read them out for you quickly. Paltu Ram, Chhatrapal Gangwar, you've got Sangeeta Bind, Dharamveer Prajapati, Sanjeev Kumar, Dinesh Khatik. All of them are ministers of state who will be inducted in this cabinet. This is the information we're picking up. I just want to quickly take this across to Abhishek for more on that. So Abhishek, Jitin Prasada will be a cabinet minister. The other 6 will be ministers of state. These are names that you've been telling us about through the day as well. So it looks like they have been shortlisted, more or less confirmed.
Well, absolutely, Akshita, and this is what we were also expecting at the moment, because, Jitin Prasad came at a very important point with the BJP, and BJP tried to give a message out there how there were complaints and, questions over the representation of the upper caste like Brahmin community. And at the same time, it was very much discussed when he came. And it was a lot of, discussions over what role could rather, he be fit in. And ultimately, cabinet minister is something, a berth which has been confirmed for him. He will be taking an oath as a cabinet minister, and the other 6 MLAs will be taking oath as the Minister of State. And as I've already told you about the current picture, 21 is the number of Minister of States. The 21 plus 6 is going to be 27 Minister of States in Uttar Pradesh. 23 is the number for the cabinet minister, and with the induction of Jitin Prasada, it's going to be 24, and 9 are the independent charges. So this will be the picture after the oath-taking ceremony. 60 minister, a power-packed cabinet from the Yogi government in Uttar Pradesh, and with that, they are going to soon with the campaign for the UP elections. So this is what it looks like. Yes, as far as the work and the agenda is concerned, these new ministers are not going to have much time. They will hardly have 4.5 months in their hand to prove their mettle, but at the same time, it's more about the participation. It's more about giving the message out there.
It's about the symbolism, yes. It's about sending across a message in the run-up to an election. A lot of political symbolism that's involved. Welcome back. We're tracking the latest updates here on India Today from poll-bound to Uttar Pradesh. Minutes from now, you're going to see the swearing-in ceremony of new ministers who are being inducted into the cabinet, clearly by the BJP, to ensure that they set the caste equations right. So let's just get right down to it and tell you about the potential cabinet probables right now. What we're hearing is that one cabinet minister will be sworn in, the other will be 6 ministers of state. So Sangeeta Bind, BJP MLA from Ghazipur seat, she's going to be inducted reportedly in this cabinet. Then you have the all-important Jitin Prasada, Brahmin face, will be inducted. He's going to be the lone cabinet minister taking oath today, is what we're hearing. Remember that he ditched Congress to join the BJP a few months ago, and was expected for the last many weeks that he is going to be inducted in the cabinet. Chhatrapal Singh, BJP MLA from Baheri Assembly constituency, we're hearing will be a part of this cabinet. Minister of State charge will be the portfolio assigned to him. The exact portfolio, of course, we'll know in some time. Paltu Ram, BJP MLA from Balrampur seat, is also expected to get a seat in this cabinet, get a berth in the cabinet. Dinesh Khatik, BJP MLA from Hastinapur, and a tall face from the OBC community from eastern Uttar Pradesh, is reportedly going to be in the cabinet. Now, then you have Krishna Paswan, BJP MLA from Fatehpur constituency. Sanjeev Divakar, a first-time BJP MLA from Jalisar, belongs to the SC community. You look at the make of these leaders who've been handpicked right now by the BJP. Most of them are representatives from the OBC community. So it's a clear outreach there. But I also want to highlight here that the one cabinet minister who's going to be sworn in, according to our sources, is Jitin Prasada. And there's a reason for that. Let me take that across to Rahul Srivastava. Rahul, Jitin Prasada is someone who holds huge possibilities for the BJP. You know, the Brahmin community is a big vote bank for the BJP. There's been a lot of talk about whether they're going to be voting away from the BJP in this election, with someone like Yogi Adityanath now being made the chief minister. But Jitin Prasada being brought into the cabinet is perhaps an attempt to woo them back.
Actually, the political parties usually do things so that in case there is a possibility, let's cover that. When the campaigning of this for the next election started a couple of months back in earnest by political parties like Samajwadi Party, BSP and others, they have created a special emphasis on drawing people from vote banks which have been loyal to the BJP, like the Brahmins. There has been a strong buzz over the last 1 year that the Yogi Adityanath rule, identified as a government headed by a dominant Thakur community in Uttar Pradesh, has not been favored by the Brahmins. The Brahmins are unhappy. And given the fact that there is a perception that Brahmins are unhappy, political parties are trying to woo them. The BJP knows that the Brahmins may not be very large in numbers compared to the SC or the OBCs, but their vote has significance because it is what can be called a game-changing vote bank. That it not only decides who they vote for, but how several other castes and communities in Uttar Pradesh vote for a political party. And that is why Jitin Prasada again is yet another step. I think bringing Jitin Prasada is a kind of a trophy effect, impact by the BJP, that see, we are honoring a Brahmin leader and making him part of the Council of Ministers. But if you see, a bigger step has been taken by the BJP by declaring in the courts that the government is not in favor of a caste census. Now remember, in India, the caste census is largely a part of view that it will be for increasing quota for backwards and others. And that would have impacted the upper caste. Because had the government gone in for that, there would
Right.
be demand for more OBC and other quotas in the country, and the upper caste might have felt angry. That's another step. So it's a layered attempt by the BJP.
And it's interesting really how the BJP is going about this cabinet expansion as well, trying to ensure that, you know, any sort of lost ground they're covering up for. It seems almost as to ensure, you know, that there's no scope whatsoever for any sort of missteps by the BJP. So we'll be tracking the latest on this. For the moment, Rahul, Abhishek, thank you very much for joining us. Just minutes to go for the cabinet expansion. The names are here on India Today. We're expecting that in all there will be 7 new ministers being inducted, 1 cabinet rank minister, which will be Jitin Prasada, and you also got 6 other leaders. They will be ministers of state. All those details, the breakdown of the demographics, the caste equations, all that and much more coming up in just a few minutes with Pooja Shali. That's it from me. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you're having a great Sunday.